Really appreciate the analogy and the example. One big thing that a lot of people complain about that are not the biggest Bitcoin fans is obviously the energy consumption. You pointed out in the beginning, David. So what would be your counter argument to those that would say, hey, we don't want to, for Cosmos chains to contribute or even increase the pollution or the energy consumption by leveraging the security of Bitcoin? Is that even a correct argument to make? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we did a very quick calculation, and the calculation suggests that our technology, Babylon, that we're using to secure the Cosmos zones will contribute roughly 1/600,000 of the energy usage of Bitcoin. So how do I come to that number? People tell me that I should, give you a number first and then explain it. So we basically, the idea here is to try to minimize our footprint onto Bitcoin. We are using cryptographic techniques to minimize the commitments, should I say, the information that we have to put on Bitcoin in order to provide the security. And that information is basically roughly 0.01% of all the transactions on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin already has a very low transaction rate. We only have 0.01%. And so this little added traffic is roughly contributing 1/600,000 of the energy usage.
So negligible, basically.
Yeah, because right now the transaction fees that we're paying on these information is about 10,000, whereas Bitcoin miners is getting 6.5 billion worth of Bitcoins every year based on block rewards. So this is a very, very small addition.
And this is based on whether this would be pegged to all Cosmos chains that are currently existing, or predominantly the Cosmos Hub, or?
Yeah, the fees that we are paying from, so the architecture is that we use Babylon to make commitments to Bitcoin to get the security, and then we distribute this security from Babylon through IBC to other Cosmos zones. Now, so therefore, no matter how many Cosmos zones uses Babylon, the amount of commitment we put on Bitcoin remains the same. So it's at the current fees, around $10,000 per year. So the fees is independent of the Cosmos zones. So that's the current economics right now for our.
So that would also not significantly increase the transaction fees for the zone that is secured additionally through Bitcoin. Because that's also a question I got. Like
yes. So if you think about economically from a cost basis point of view, our cost basis is $10,000 per year. So, and then the checkpoints that other zones put onto Babylon will be sharing that cost. And so from a per transaction point of view, it's just very, very low.
So it would not exponentially increase with more chains pegging to it?
No.
Okay. And can you explain maybe a little bit, because there's also this concept, obviously, of merge mining, and I think there's different versions of it. Also Dogecoin, as far as I know, they implement merge mining with Litecoin, if I'm not mistaken. What are some of the concepts here? How does it differentiate to what you guys are doing? And what are some of the trade-offs?
Yeah, in fact, Zach and I and the team has a lot of discussion about merge mining versus this technology we use called checkpointing onto Bitcoin. So there are basically two ways. If you look at the past projects, there have been two ways of using the security of a so-called parent chain, in this example, Bitcoin. One way is to have the miners simultaneously mine Bitcoin and another chain. Okay. Now that method has one big drawback, is that the miner can actually go and attack Babylon. So suppose it's merge mine Babylon with Bitcoin. The miners can actually attack Babylon without attacking Bitcoin. So therefore, the security is not Bitcoin security. Is the security only is so much so that the miners that are mining Babylon should be faithful to Babylon. So we're not really transferring security. Whereas directly checkpointing on Bitcoin really means that to attack Babylon, you have to fork Bitcoin itself, the chain. So that is a very big difference. And to tell you the truth, this is a pretty complicated issue. It took us a while to sort of understand this. I remember it was in one of the meetings with Zaki that we sort of came to a full realization that, hey, wait a minute, there's several merge mining projects, but really they're not really getting Bitcoin security. And maybe that's one reason why it's kind of hard for merge mining projects to take off. There has not been really a very successful merge mining project. I think if Zaki agrees or not, I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, you get this. It's this sort of all or with merge mining. It is this all or nothing thing. We talked a lot about developing Babylon chain as a merge mine chain, and there are definitely a lot of potential advantages. But it'll be a lot more work to interoperate with IBC in that circumstance. But also, merge mining is kind of all or nothing from a security point of view. It's like either you get 51% of Bitcoin mining hash power, merge mining your chain, and you have security, or you basically have nothing.
Yeah, I think that's the other point, which is that if you use checkpointing, then Babylon can be built as a Cosmos zone itself. Whereas if we do merge mining, then Babylon is a proof of work chain, and interoperability with Cosmos zone will be rather difficult. Right now, because Babylon itself is a Cosmos zone, we do the hard work interacting with Bitcoin. But in terms of the communication with other Cosmos zone, is through, we can utilize this very important infrastructure of IBC. So we're basically using IBC not to do token transfer, asset transfer, but really security transfer. And I think that's an interesting use case of IBC. Because at the end of the day, IBC is message passing. Message passing, you can use it for many things. And we're using it for sort of this checkpointing mechanism to transfer security.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like every day, I think there's still, I think everybody on this podcast, on this live stream knows that IBC is so much more than just a message token transfer protocol. We have interchain security, we have interchain accounts, we can send consensus message, slashing messages, checkpointing security messages. Like there's, the composability of IBC is quite extraordinary. And we are just starting to sort of like deliver that composability, but hats off to Chris Goes and the IBC team for giving us all of these building blocks that can be used in all of these ways that new ideas seem to be, as more people become deeply familiar with the protocol, more and more new ideas about what we can do on IBC. I haven't even, I don't think I've even fully understand all of the different ways in which security can be composed with IBC.
Yeah.